Welp, everybody. Looks like we're losing a legend. Earl Hebner retiring in 1 month. And now we gotta scramble to find someone else to be our head referee in TNA. But nevertheless, it is time once again for another episode of our TNA series, CR Daredevil, of course, bringing you all of the live action this week as we are now 2 weeks out from TNA Slammiversary 2014. And so far, we have 2 matches announced for the show. 2 weeks out from one of our biggest pay-per-views ever. Well, one of our bigger pay-per-views of the year, anyway. So that's a thing. But yeah, of course, we have the TNA World Heavyweight Championship match set in stone. It is going to be Magnus taking on Bully Ray. And of course, we have the recent grudge match featuring Jeff Hardy versus Samoa Joe in a Falls Count Anywhere no disqualification contest. Tonight, I am sure we are going to get all sorts of other matches booked for the show, simply because I had to cut a week off of my booking. And we will gladly start fleshing out the card for Slammiversary as the show goes on. We open up tonight in front of 5,326 people in the Oklahoma Expo Square Pavilion. That's right, for the first time in this series, we are traveling outside of the Southeast. Even if it is just Oklahoma, so it's not too far over, but 5,326 people get to start off this show by watching the Bromans defeat the Von Erichs in a pre-show bout in 652 when Robbie E gets the victory with a super kick. 31 rating, not a great match, but former tag team champions getting a victory, getting some momentum, I guess, so to speak. It is what it is. It is what it is. After that, in another pre-show bout, Mia Yim defeats Angelina Love in 729 by submission with a guillotine choke and a bit of a surprise upset, seeing as how Angelina Love has been featured on TV a bit more recently, and Mia Yim hasn't really been doing a whole lot, but Mia Yim getting the victory. So pretty impressive victory there for her, as she is able to get a victory over Angelina Love. 44 rating for the match. Good stuff there as well. We move on to the start of the main show itself, and of course we open up the show this time with a Bully Ray promo. Bully Ray comes out and talks about getting another opportunity for the TNA World's Heavyweight Championship, but this time he wants to kind of confront Magnus a little bit. He says the last time Magnus had to depend on EC3 getting involved, and he says that if Magnus was any sort of a man, any sort of a real World's Heavyweight Champion, that he would face him at Slammiversary 1-on-1. He would make sure that nobody came out from the back, that nobody helped Magnus get the victory and all that. And that's when Magnus's music hits. He's not happy. He's not happy about this call out happening, and says that that if Bully Ray has a problem with how he's conducted himself as the TNA World's Heavyweight Champion, well, then he will get to do something about it at Slammiversary, but he guarantees Bully that it won't end the way that he wants it to end, because Magnus is going to continue to prove why he is the greatest TNA World's Heavyweight Champion of all time, and if Bully has a problem with that, well, too damn bad. He's not the one holding the title. And MVP comes out and says, "You're right, Magnus. You're the one holding the title. You're the one that has the opportunity to prove that you're the supposed greatest World's Heavyweight Champion in TNA history, but you can't really do it if you keep having people interfere." So, I know it kind of backfired in my face last month when Jeff was cost his match against you because of Abyss, who was not under contract with TNA Wrestling officially. But he says this time around at Slammiversary, he will make sure that it does not backfire in his face, because he is officially banning anyone from showing up at ringside, or from showing up during that matchup at Slammiversary. And if anyone under TNA contract or not gets involved in that match, they will be taken off. They will be, like, basically they will not be allowed to show up in TNA wrestling for the remainder of the year. That includes guys like Abyss, who may be under contract with Magnus specifically, but do still keep showing up on TNA wrestling, keep wrestling in TNA matches. They will not show up for the rest of 2014. So Magnus is not happy about it, as he finds out now that he really does have to go one-on-one with Bully Ray at Slammiversary. Otherwise, he's not going to be, he's going to lose whoever that is that interferes for the remainder of the year. Doesn't matter if it's Abyss or anybody else. So, kind of a big thing. Crowd's going crazy for it. And MVP then says, but I'm not done. Because I know how you and Dixie would work. I know how you and Dixie would do things. You'll probably get some random person off the street to come in and interfere, and guess what? They wouldn't be under contract with TNA, so they wouldn't be showing up the rest of the year, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But there's going to be a second stipulation with that. Because if somebody shows up in that matchup and interferes, not only are they not going to be allowed in TNA wrestling for the remainder of 2014, but you, Magnus, will be stripped of the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. And the crowd's, oh my god, this is awesome. So, I know it's a little convoluted, but not only would an outside interfering person be banned from TNA wrestling for the remainder of 2014, but Magnus would then be stripped of the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. And that's when Magnus's face just kind of loses all color. He's lost that confidence he just had a little bit, a fair deal there. And Mickie James, who came out with him, she's not officially listed in the segment, but she's always following him around anyway, or she's kind of not happy about all this, or. And MVP goes, but I also have something else to announce right now. I'm also announcing that tonight, in the main event, it is going to be a tag team matchup. Magnus and a partner of his choosing against Bully Ray and a partner of his choosing. And the crowd's going crazy for that as well. So, big time main event match here tonight, on top of the fact that we just got two huge stipulations for the match at Slammiversary. So, at this point, if Magnus wants to become the TNA, or if Magnus wants to retain the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, he's going to have to do so on his own. He's going to have to do so all by himself. So, we'll have to see. What Magnus is going to end up doing. But yeah, pretty big announcements there by MVP. After that, we move into something at some point in time. Maybe. There we go. After that, we move into a tag team matchup, a big-time tag team matchup, in which Bad Influence defeat Colt Cabana and Eric Young. Cabana and Eric Young take their first loss as a team. In 12:15, when Daniels pins Eric Young with the last rites after James Storm came out and distracted Colt Cabana during the match itself. 71 rating for the match. 54 from Eric Young and Colt Cabana. 64 from Kazarian, and 72 from Christopher Daniels. Pretty big matchup to open up Impact this week, and Bad Influence get the victory. Yeah. Meanwhile, Cabana and Eric Young try to pick themselves up after that, figure out what's going on. They clearly have to have some more discussion, or they clearly have to figure out what's going on with James Storm, because James Storm and Bobby Roode have been kind of getting involved in their stuff recently. We saw last week Storm defeated Cabana in that singles match on Explosion. We saw some interactions where Roode and Storm kind of provided a distraction for Eric Young. So clearly some issues there, but we'll have to see what happens with that. After this match, though, Bad Influence have a post-match promo where they are taunting the American Wolves and kind of taunt them into challenging them for a match at Slammiversary. Wolves come out and kind of just nod and raise the championships up kind of in response. So it appears that the Wolves are going to be... I apologize for that. Apparently my downstairs neighbor has decided to move in right now and be very fucking loud. Anyway, sorry for that F-bomb there. But the Wolves and Bad Influence get made official for Slammiversary with this. So pretty big tag team matchup happening. Obviously it seemed kind of obvious over the last few weeks, but now it's made official. So there you go. After that, we get Jeff Hardy with a promo backstage with Jeremy Borash, who vastly underperformed and kind of hurt the segment. So I probably should have done just Jeff Hardy by himself, but I don't like the idea of doing just all like wrestler promos in TW. I like having the idea of having an interviewer at times. It's just hard because a lot of times the interviewers are vastly they vastly have bad stats unless you build them up really well. They have great, microphone skills and stuff like that, but it's usually their popularity that's just absolute garbage, and so it always hurts segments for a while until you really build them up. It's kind of a little bit harder for this to happen, but I'm gonna keep trying to build up Borash a little bit because I want the idea of having an interviewer there, because a lot of times in wrestling you have an interviewer along with a lot of these promos. So, but anyway, mini rant over. Jeff Hardy has a promo where he talks about his matches with Samoa Joe at Slammiversary. He says he still doesn't know why Joe has been doing what he's been doing lately. He doesn't know if it's about the TNA World's Heavyweight Championship. He doesn't know if it's about Magnus. He doesn't know if it's about just some issue with Jeff Hardy himself. But at Slammiversary, it's not going to all matter. All that's not going to matter, because at Slammiversary, he's going to defeat Samoa Joe cleanly yet again and get rid of that temporary nuisance. That way he can move on to trying to get the TNA World Heavyweight Championship off of Magnus if Bully Ray doesn't get the job done himself at Slammiversary. So, nice little promo there from Jeff. I forgot that Matt was still technically managing him. Matt wasn't actually there. At least I didn't plan for Matt to be there. But yeah, we move on from that to Samoa Joe in action in the ring, as he quickly takes care of Trevor Lee in 524 by submission with the Coquina Clutch. Just a quick squash for Joe to show that he's really not in the mood to be dealing with any stupidity, any annoying things happening. That's all that really is. Commentators kind of talk about the issues between Joe and Jeff Hardy here, but Joe just quickly takes control of Trevor Lee. Just beats the hell out of him, chokes him out, and then walks off, doesn't say a word. So Joe seems to be having this other form of preparing for Slammiversary that he's going to be doing, and it's just using his actions to speak for him at this point. After that, we get MVP. He is backstage in his office, and he gets confronted by Dixie and Magnus. Dixie and Magnus kind of confront him about what just happened out there in the ring earlier. Dixie is not thrilled about the idea of all these stipulations happening behind the TNA World Heavyweight Championship match. And MVP says, well, that sucks for you, because you may officially still be the owner of this company, but I'm the one who is in power. I'm the one who's actually, doing the authority, or I'm the one who's the actual running the authority here in TNA. You may own the company, but you're the one who lost authority at Lockdown. So what I say will go, whether you guys like it or not. But I will grant you something in return for those stipulations. I want to prove I'm a fair person, that I'm not being, biased at all over. So I'm going to prove I'm a fair person. Upcoming here in a little bit is a fatal 4-way matchup featuring 4 people that Madison Rayne has not recently defended the TNA Knockouts Championship against. with the winner going on to Slammiversary to get the shot at the TNA Knockouts Championship. Well, not that hasn't recently, like within the last like 30 days, because I think there's somebody in the match that she has defended against recently. But anyway, he says that he knows that Mickey has just recently has only had like 1 or 2 matches here in TNA, but he is willing to be fair. So Mickey is in that fatal 4-way matchup. So she has a shot to become the #1 contender for the Knockouts Championship at Slammiversary. So we'll have to see what happens with that. As Bischoff's kind of there in the office with MVP and kind of looks pretty satisfied with MVP not backing down with that. Speaking of that 4-way, it happens right now, and Mickie James actually gets the victory over Gail Kim, Taryn Terrell, and Velvet Sky. That's why I said recently. I did remember that I had Velvet in here because I wanted to try to continue the idea of that storyline, but originally this was supposed to be 4 women who had not had a shot at Madison Rayne in the Knockouts Championship, and then I was like, well, it would make more sense to have at least, have one of the members of the Beautiful People in there, so that way they could continue that storyline. So that's why they ended up the way it did. But Mickie James gets the victory in 10-12 over Taryn Terrell with a chick kick after Katarina came out and distracted Velvet Sky, and Mickie James is now going to be moving on to a Slammiversary to challenge for the Knockouts Championship. So pretty big thing there is Velvet Sky, quote unquote, gets screwed out of a victory, gets screwed out of a title shot. So we'll have to see what that means. But more importantly, Mickie James is going to be challenging for the Knockouts Championship at Slammiversary. 59 rating for this matchup, really great match there. 57 from Gail Kim, 51 from Mickie, 45 from Taryn Terrell, 42 from Velvet Sky. Well, yeah, pretty good stuff there. After that, we get a backstage promo from Bobby Lashley and Mr. Anderson. Jeremy Borash brings that segment down a little bit too, so I may have to relegate Jeremy Borash. The problem is that he's the play-by-play announcer on Explosion, so I have to figure out how I want to do that, but I may have to relegate him to really like smaller non-storyline promos that I do, so that way I can build them up, because as you see with this one, he hurts this one, and it hurts the storyline as well. So there's that. But Lashley and Anderson have a promo talking about their issues with Homicide and Low-Ki. They're also kind of talking about their issues with each other, not seeming to get on the right page or anything like that, but they did kind of have some discussions over the past week, and they are going to continue to have some discussions over the next week, because they announced that next week it has been made official that it is going to be a rematch. It is going to be Lashley and Anderson taking on Homicide and Low-Ki again next week on Impact. So we'll have to see what happens with that. We'll move on from that to a quick little terrible matchup. Samuel Shaw defeats a local guy, Lewis Linden, in 4:45 by pinfall of the Shawshank. Again, just randomly trying to get Samuel Shaw over a little bit more. So that's really all the point of this match was. Probably should have done it on Explosion, honestly, but it is what it is. It is what it is. We move on from that to Chris Saban and Velvet Sky with a backstage promo, where they're both kind of disappointed about the fact that neither of them are in title matches at the pay-per-view. Of course, Saban lost last week in that 4-way world title #1 contender match, and then Velvet Sky just lost a little bit ago. Both are kind of consoling each other a little bit, but they're also kind of showing some anger. Sky says that she will take care of Katarina. She will make sure that Katarina pays for screwing her over like that, and says that says that she has some payback in mind here in the next week or two. Kind of unofficially, not really saying officially what she means by it, but saying that she will begin payback on her. And Saban kind of talks about how he will be on the Slammiversary card in some capacity, whether anybody around here likes it or not. So, kind of an interesting little promo from these guys there. After that, we get a promo from Jay Lethal. He is kind of talking about Slammiversary, talking about looking for that contender for the X Division Championship when Kenny King comes out and says that he doesn't know why Lethal is still looking for a contender because everybody knows that the king of the X Division is the one that should be getting the title shot at Slammiversary. And Lethal goes, yeah, well, the only time we met in the ring, you ran away. And King is like, well, that's because he doesn't really give an explanation. He looks like he's going to, and then he says, you know what, I don't have to explain anything to you, okay? You need to give me the X Division Championship match at Slammiversary, or I'm going to start going to continue making your life a living hell. And Lethal says, you know what? I tell you what, you won last week. You've gotten some victories on TV recently, on Explosion and whatnot. She says, I tell you what, I will give you the shot at the X Division Championship at Slammiversary. All you have to do is defeat this person. And that person turns out to be the former X Division champion themselves, Sonata. So in about that goes a little over 9 minutes, Kenny King gets the victory over Sonata in 9:02 by pinfall after using a foreign object. He does have to cheat to win, but Lethal didn't say anything about getting a fair victory. He just said about getting the victory. And so King, cheating to win, does get the victory over the former X Division champion and therefore does get the shot at the X Division Championship at Slammiversary. Sonata with a 47, Kenny King with a 45. Jay Lethal was on commentary for the match. And now we're going to see Kenny King and Jay Lethal at Slammiversary for the X Division Championship. So that'll be an interesting matchup. Backstage, we, remember earlier in the night, Bully Ray and Magnus were told to find a partner. Well, obviously Magnus is going to choose a member of Team Dixie, but Bully Ray doesn't have a lot of friends in TNA. It's not like he pisses a bunch of people off, but he's not exactly somebody who runs around with a bunch of friends. So he does approach AJ Styles backstage after finding him. Apparently spent a good portion of the show trying to find him. And he asks Styles if he'd like to team up tonight. He says that he knows he has issues with Team Dixie ever since he's returned, and says that he would like to team up with him tonight and let Styles get a little bit of revenge and retribution on Team Dixie as well. And Styles just kind of thinks about it for a second and then just slowly nods without really saying anything. So it is official. It's going to be Bully Ray and AJ Styles taking on Magnus and whatever member of Team Dixie he teams up with tonight. Pretty good helping flesh out that main event tonight on the Tonight Show. After that, we get the in-ring segment, the in-ring challenge between Johnny Impact and Austin Aries. Both men come out, and it gets revealed that it's going to be a variation of a photo shoot. Essentially, both men are going to kind of do some random moves, kind of show off some skills a little bit. Get photographed by a bunch of people, and then some of those photographs are going to show up on the Titantron, or the screen, I guess, and the crowd's going to respond in cheers or boos of how much they like those photographs. It's a very stupid segment, but I like the idea that it's something different. So as it's going on, Johnny Impact does some parkour stuff, does some kind of poses and whatnot, and crowd kind of cheers for his photographs that are showing up on the screen. Austin Aries does his bit. He's posing. He does a 450 off the top rope where he doesn't actually land it in a splash. He just basically kind of rolls through it. Crowd goes kind of crazy and kind of cheers pretty loudly for that over. And the two kind of start posing a little bit, doing doing some poses with each other, kind of Johnny Impact showing off the washboard abs, and Aries is trying to show off that he's got washboard abs or something, even though he doesn't quite have them, or whatever. And it ends up kind of leading into a little bit of opposing poses between the two of them. And Aries eventually goes and gets the mic, and he's like, you know what, this whole thing is kind of dumb. And the crowd just kind of laughs a little bit, but kind of cheers. They're like, you know what, Impact, I'm playing your game, your pretty boy game, your photo shooting game, whatever. But at the end of the day, this is wrestling, and the only way to prove who's the brighter star is not by photo shoots, not by showing off random moves and stuff like that. It's by getting into the ring and actually competing against each other. So if you are not too afraid to have your pretty little face all messed up, then I will see you at Slammiversary. Drops the mic, walks off. Impact, not too thrilled about being called out like that, but does kind of yell at, just kind of shout out stuff at Aries that doesn't really get picked up. But it seems as if we have another official match for Slammiversary. It will be Austin Aries versus Johnny Impact. Then in a quick matchup, well, not quick, it's 7-minute matchup, but then in a matchup, we get Bobby Roode getting a victory over Manic in 7-18 by submission with a Fujiwara armbar. 67 rating for the match. Roode with 66, Manic with a 51. This was kind of the first time that we've seen Bobby Roode in ring action since having this discussion with Dixie Carter. And kind of interesting thing, it didn't really show it here because I guess it doesn't really have chemistry either way, but Dixie Carter actually accompanied Bobby Roode to the ring for this matchup. So apparently whatever discussions have been happening between Bobby Roode and Dixie Carter, it seems like Dixie is keeping an eye on Bobby Roode and actually was out there managing him tonight. Eric Young came out as the match was going on and sat down at the commentary desk and was kind of providing some commentary, kind of saying that he has this history with Bobby from way back in their Team Canada days, and he thought that and then they've had their feuds that they've had their issues that they've had with each other since then, and he thought they've kind of left that stuff in the past until recently when Roode and his partner James Stormover has been providing some distractions and getting involved in stuff with him and his new friend Cole Cabana that he's not really thrilled about. So kind of discussing that stuff, but Bobby Roode getting the victory here. After the match, though, that's when EY gets up from the commentary desk and says that basically kind of reiterates what he just said at the commentary desk, that Bobby Roode has been getting involved, even if it's by accident, getting involved in his issue or in his matches and stuff like that as of late, kind of causing him to get distracted a little bit, causing Cabana took a loss and a beatdown, or a bit of an attack order from Storm last week and all that. And so he says that enough is enough. He wants to nip this in the bud before it becomes anything worrisome, or before it becomes anything kind of crazy. So he's issuing a challenge for Slammiversary. Him and EY and Cole Cabana versus Bobby Roode and James Storm. So, and we'll have to see what that ends up leading to. We'll have to see if that ends up becoming an official matchup at all or not. But challenge is issued for Slammiversary there with those two. After that, we get MVP in his office, kind of announcing some Slammiversary, or kind of announcing / talking about some Slammiversary matches. No idea why this only got a 49. MVP is just talking on his own about this, so I don't know why he only got a 49, but whatever. Nevertheless, MVP announces that, of course, Lethal and Kenny King for the X Division Championship is official. He also announces that obviously it is official at this point that Madison Rayne is going to be defending the Knockouts Championship against Mickie James, but he does make another match official for Slammiversary. He announces that at Slammiversary is going to be Abyss taking on AJ Styles, so that's going to be a huge matchup for the pay-per-view as well. So yeah, I don't know why this got a 49, but he's penalized for a poor gimmick. Still, I feel like his mic skills should bring him up to at least a 50 something, but whatever. After that, go away. After that, we get our main event in which Bully Ray and AJ Styles defeat Magnus and the partner that he chose, EC3. Obviously, kind of obvious why he chose EC3 over, especially since he's had issues with Bully Ray recently. But the faces get the victory in 1349 when Styles pins EC3 with a Styles Clash 77 rated matchup. Let's go. EC3 was the weak link, obvious. It's going to take some time to keep building him up to get him into more of a main event status like I want him to be, but I'm going to keep booking him as such because that's the only way to really get him up there. But faces get the victory with this match. 76 from Styles, 67 from Bully Ray, 56 from EC3, 68 from Magnus. Gained heat for both storylines that were involved in this. After the match, though, Abyss hits the ring, causes both storylines to lose the heat that it just gained, because of course they did. Abyss hits the ring, Black Hole Slam to Bully Ray, Black Hole Slam to AJ Styles, and the three heels stand tall to end Impact here tonight. This gets the show of 71. Not fantastic, not quite as good of matches as we had last week, but I'll still take it. We had that opening tag match that was just really hot fire. And then, of course, our main event that just really killed it. Everything else is kind of a little bit lower, but that's because I had to cram some stuff in that I didn't want to have crammed in like that. Breaking the fourth wall just slightly here. Like I said, I realized that with the last episode, I realized that I had lost a week with my booking. I could have pushed Slammiversary back a week if I really wanted to, but I kind of wanted to stick with it being where it was, so I'm just gonna run with that. But the X Division Championship thing was gonna be pushed back to that extra week. Aries and Impact were going to have another segment before their challenge was made for Slammiversary. EY, the storyline with EY and Cabana, Rude, and Stormover was going to also be pushed back another week as well. We're going to have a little bit more build for that, but it is what it is. Sometimes you don't realize this stuff, but nevertheless, 71 rating, I'll take it. Increased popularity in 28 regions, I will take that as well. As we continue to grow, I did get the official alert by the game that in 1 month's time, most of our broadcasting deals are going to be up. That is a good sign, because once those broadcasting deals are up, we're going to be able to get some really good deals set up, not the ones that are already in place. And so I will be able to not have to worry about that popularity. The whole would have increased in this area, but we had limited number of viewers there, whatever kind of thing. I will be able to get rid of that soon, because I will be able to expand our broadcasting, as we are a medium company, and right now some of our broadcasters are more for small companies. So once I can get better broadcasting set up, we will be able to do all of that, and it will be pretty exciting. As you see really quick, the ratings for the night, obviously we kind of killed it, especially since we were going up against a taping of a Ring of Honor show, and then that NXT show that didn't do rather great, and CZW even had a thing there. I did kind of want to look at this really quick. So as you can see, WWE's pay-per-views and all that stuff are really high up there. But the show that we did last week, TNA Impact that we did last week, you can see the number there is number 28. We had 1.4 million viewers for that show. I got a 75. And then our other ones, as of late, some of our other bigger shows as of late, you can see in the 30s there, mid 30s or so. So viewership wise, that's where that is. TV rating, I think Yeah, it's gonna be about the same as the viewership thing. Although that show is at 26 at that point, but yeah. So kind of an interesting thing. I'll get this really quick. Want that? There we go. So yeah, kind of interesting there. Our Sacrifice pay-per-view did not so great when it came to viewers, but that's because we had a weird pay-per-view deal that will be coming up soon, thankfully. But as you can see, a lot of our shows have had more viewers since that and have had better ratings since that Sacrifice. So I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that Slammiversary does really, really great. And that potentially becomes our biggest show that we've had in our series so far. Explosion, you see the ratings for that show's not done that great. That's because, of course, I've turned it into completely a B show. But like I said before, if you guys do want to see that heading forward, just let me know and I will start kind of showing what happened there as well. As of course we have another bit of sad news as Dick to Go retires. But anyway, that is going to do it for us today. Definitely appreciate all the support you guys continue to have for the series, and we will catch you guys all next time for the go home episode of Slammiversary.